Hello and welcome to the BuiltOnAir podcast. BuiltOnAir is a regular podcast where we talk with everyday people and learn about the amazing things they are doing with Airtable. Today's podcast is sponsored by OpenSide, the leading solutions provider for Airtable customers. Check out openside.com to learn more about their products and services that can take your Airtable usage to the next level. Use promo code BuiltOnAir to receive $20 towards any product purchase. Today, our host Zoe talks with, me. My name is Alli Alosa. I'm a marketing manager at a heavy-duty truck dealership in New England. But I'm also an artist and total computer nerd. Since discovering Airtable about 2 years ago, I've used it to track and automate processes in the workplace such as travel requests, paid time off requests, and more. In this episode, Zoe and I discuss one of the bases I've set up for the dealership I work at, our inventory management base. This base helps our salesperson stay up to date on our current and ordered inventory. They can filter through units to find the truck they're looking for, communicate about what they're selling, and even email information to customers. Right. So what we're looking at right now is actually our company intranet. I started here just to show you how our sales guys can view it. So they have, everyone in the company has a username and password for this website. We use MyHub is the name of the company we use. I highly recommend it. It's very affordable.
Awesome.
Unlimited users, unlimited storage, and it's great. So they can log into the intranet and go to this page here where the entire base is embedded. We'll go to the view larger version here. So this is our inventory base, and every record here represents a unit, so one truck. This is the stock number for the truck. We have all of our specs here. And what's really cool about this is I mentioned DSI, which is our Linux system. All of these specs for Kenworths, at least, are automatically loaded whenever we get a new unit. PACCAR, which is the parent company of Kenworth, they load these specs into the system for us. And then my father wrote a program using the API for Airtable that automatically injects these specs into Airtable every 2 hours.
Awesome.
So that includes pricing. So like if a truck has, they call it a PDI, some trucking lingo for you, pre-delivery inspection. So for instance, like when that happens, the charge for that automatically hits Airtable and everybody can see that that's been done for the truck.
Awesome. So like really not a ton of like manual data entry in terms of, copying and pasting things from DSI. Very cool.
Yeah, we have quite, the manual entry is really only limited to the attachments right now. Everything else is automatic every 2 hours, which has been so helpful. So we have all of our attachments we put on this More tab just to avoid anything, like if something were to go wrong with the program and it were to wipe out everything, we still have it on a separate table.
Right on.
Lose everything. And then the coolest function though, I think, and the one that is used the most is from our intranet. We can go down to this little Airtable form that we have, and I can tell everybody that I've taken a deposit on a unit. Let's just go back and do the first one, 255293. And once I hit submit, this is a copy of the actual base, so I won't receive the email, but it would send out an email to everybody and say, hey, Allie's taken a deposit on this unit. And once I hit refresh, it gets marked with a little purple line. So now everybody can see right now that that's been taken. Somebody has purchased this unit.
Awesome.
So that's been really helpful for the sales team to know, when they're looking through this list, they're like, oh, okay, someone's already taken this one. So that's great. And we can go over and take a look at the actual reservation and see when it was taken, who it was taken for. Another really cool feature is I love the blocks feature from Airtable. I'm really enjoying it. One thing I really wish it did, though, was made it so you don't have to show all the data in the table. I think that's
Right.
a problem for a lot of people right now. But this has been really helpful for us with creating these sell sheets for our sales guys. They can just go and print these out if they want to hand one to a customer, or we keep an inventory board at each location with these sheets on it, and they're all uniform. They look the same. So it's been really nice.
Beautiful.
Another cool thing. I'm sorry, now it's not loading. We also keep all of our current ads in here, so I can go and look at the one that's running right now that's featuring those units. And we have leads as well. I changed all of my customer names to Sopranos characters.
Beautiful.
But our sales director can assign a lead to a salesperson, and then the salesperson can come back and show, hey, I talked to this person on this date, etc. So that's been helpful. It's kind of like a really lightweight CRM in a way. Not many people have been using it, but we just implemented that.
So really, it seems like a lot, like sort of the main benefit of this now is that there's like this really awesome kind of transparency thing going on for all of your salespeople. So before you kind of got everything into Airtable, was it a lot harder for everyone to kind of communicate deposits or who they talk to, or like, hey, these are the ones that are being featured? Like, how are you doing all this before you had it sort of in one spot?
Great question. We weren't doing a very good job of it, that's for sure. And it was kind of an ongoing battle where our director of sales would be like, hey, I know there's something out there that can make this easy for us. We just have to find it. And I'm so glad that we did. Prior to this, we had been using SamePage, which is kind of like a collaboration app. We were very happy with it, but it was more for collaboration rather than like data sharing and storage. So we would just have a folder with, the invoice and the final bill for the truck, which lists all of these specs here. But this puts it in a way where it's everything right in front of you. So that's been really great. So yeah, before it was just lots and lots of emails. Sometimes the email wouldn't happen, so nobody would know.
Right. They're like, oh yeah, I forgot to told you I already sold that truck. Sorry.
Exactly.
No, yeah. And I think this is great too, because it really, something that's sort of, classic when you're expanding too is like, if you're all just in one office, you can be like, hey, Bob, I sold this truck, FYI, right? Just shout it out. But since you guys have so many locations and, obviously you've just expanded your inventory at each location a lot, it's a lot harder for people to just kind of, remember things, right? As like one-off kind of, hey, FYI. I love the kind of conditional coloring you have here, just as like a really sort of, that purple line does such a great job of like standing out like, hey, this is reserved, but also not being like too, just like in your face or over the top. So that's a really nice touch.
Thank you.
So how long did it kind of take you guys to build this out? From starting, committing, okay, we're going to do this in Airtable, to kind of having it laid out as it is now?
Probably took about a week or two. For my dad wrote the program, the curl function, and getting all of the data from DSI into Airtable. And then it took a little while, to go back and make sure that all of our specs were uniform. That's been a big, huge thing. So like if somebody were to just write pack here instead of pack R, then, that's going to screw up people's filters if they're trying to find something with a specific engine make or color or whatever it may be. So that was a huge project in itself. And still working on that. But yeah, probably about a couple of weeks from start to finish. And and then we trained everybody up on it, and everyone's been using it for about 1.5 years now, which is kind of crazy to think of. It's been going really well. And then when a unit is sold, that's a whole other part of this process, which has been really kind of cool. We have a Zap setup that when we mark a unit as sold on this database, it moves it to our sold database, which I can show you a little bit of if you'd like.
Awesome. Let's do it.
All right. So this is just a copy of it, just scrubbed version.
Right. All the Sopranos buying all the trucks.
Exactly. So when we just started using it so that when a unit is marked as sold, it inserts it with the week that it was marked as sold automatically into the sold database. So it's grouped by week here. Every Friday, another Zap automatically sends a list of all of the units that were sold for the week to our truck sales coordinator, who then edits it and makes sure it's all right, and then can email it out to our entire company. So we just started doing this a few weeks ago, where every week we get a list of everything that was sold for the week before. So that's been helpful because now our parts guys can call up their customers and say, hey, I know you bought a new truck, like just wondering how it's going. And that's been great. But not only that, but it's helping to kind of force the process along, because if somebody has sold a truck and forgot to tell anyone about it, then they're like, oh, my truck's not listed there. I should probably let them know so everybody can know that I sold a truck too. So,
right. Like I want the credit for selling that big truck. Cool. Yeah. And I think also you kind of bring up a great point too about just, kind of data management and people. It's really easy to kind of just throw things in somewhere and then you forget about it. And it's only the one person who has to like comb through everything that's like, oh, this is like formatted incorrectly, or people aren't updating their stuff. But kind of those, sort of transparent emails really do a great job of just making sure that everyone, is aware of their own little part of the process.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been really, really helpful. Yeah.
So do you have this inventory? Is it just for all of your trucks, or are you also kind of tracking, like individual parts and stuff like that in the system as well?
We are not currently doing that. We very well might in the future. That's been a very heavily just DSI kind of thing. And I think the turnover for that is so high that it might be difficult to capture in Airtable. But I think we might work towards that eventually. But right now, I think just having this for our sales team has been the most helpful. Especially just being able to go and see, the gallery view and
beautiful.
You wouldn't be able to make this look so nice with parts.
Right. Yeah. And I think too, also, it's like, I'm sure there's, it's like parts have so much little data attached to them. And you said they turn over so quickly, so much volume. It is sort of making that sort of sensible call in between like what is the amount of upkeep it would take versus, the benefit that it gives everyone.
Exactly.
So yeah, and you're right. Like just, kind of parts picture is not quite the same impact as seeing all of the trucks, right?
Yes, for sure.
Very cool. I love it. I think you did such a great job of sort of, and kind of with your dad's like, programming skills, right? You're taking something from a system that's sort of like a black box and people aren't loving and putting it somewhere that, can kind of, allow people to interact more with the data and get more, of what they need out of it, which it's always amazing how many sort of like systems are built by humans and then they're not really great to like be operated by humans. So I really love this kind of like elegant solution, right? You're kind of translating it via Airtable into a way that works better for everyone.
Exactly.
So what is sort of the next like big sort of systems or Airtable project or whatever you guys are working on? How are you spending your day today right now?
So I am working on whole bunch of different ones. I'm just trying to
You're like, too many.
right. I think the next big push we're going to be working on is an onboarding base. I can't remember who it was on the Airtable community forum, but somebody, a regular poster, shared a code that can create multiple records from one record via Zapier.
Yeah, and I think our sponsor OpenSide also has like a connector via Zapier where you can do that. So inserting multiple records is something that like you would think would be like sort of better baked into what is offered by default, but yeah, just like finding those tools, onto-air actions, or your own code or something to be able to just split all that out how you need.
Exactly. So we're trying to figure out using that when we hire a new employee, sending out those tasks to different people saying, hey, they need their email address set up, they need a cell phone, they need to be set up in DSI, they need all this stuff. And we're working towards using Airtable to do that and shoot out all the emails to everybody with all the tasks that they need to do. And we currently already do use it to house our employee information once they are hired, but the onboarding process, I think, is our next big process to clean up.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for giving us this like really awesome, I love how the space is laid out. It's super easy to understand, and just really great talking to you about your weird like fine arts metamorphosis into like systems for a family trucking dealership. Very cool. Where can our listeners go to find you if they want to learn more about you or reach out?
All right, so I have a website. It's allialosa.com, and that's ALLIALOSA. It's kind of a hard name to spit out there.
We'll include it in the show notes so they can just do a quick click.
Excellent. And I am on the Airtable community forum at Needs Admin. Needs is a New England Auto Dealer Services. That's an acronym.
Awesome. That's a great acronym. I love acronyms that are also words. So
yeah, it's not bad, right? We started calling it Nerds Alert.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Alli. It was really great chatting with you, and best of luck with your continued Airtable transformations and your onboarding process and such. And we'll include those links in case anyone wants to check out your Airtable-y things, or I guess your finer arts type stuff as well.
Thank you. And thanks for having me. It's been great.
It was a pleasure.